Reti opening d4 and knight c6. So I will move the other knight to f6, because if I move the c6, knight to c6, it blocks our c pawn. And I would say the c pawn is very likely to be pushed as a weapon attacking d4. So I'll move this knight first, and maybe e6, c5, and later move the b8 knight to d7. So c4, white start to attack the center, knight f5, and a3. Well, I think this move is a little unnecessary. If we worry about knight b4, I don't think that's a big problem, because after queen a4, the black knight has to retreat to back to c6. So we don't need to worry about knight b4 at least at this moment. So actually we can take the pawn, and if knight to d5, I'm thinking about queen to b3, and there is a fork. If knight take our knight, and we can take it back, and then we can have a very strong c3 pawn supporting d4, and then our queen attacking b7, and that's a quite good center control. So we play a3, g6, bishop f4, bishop g7, and play knight b5. White wants to attack c7, but I don't think that's very helpful, because rook c8, the rook can protect the pawn very easily, and trading the knight and bishop with the pawn and the rook is not worthy, and the black can kick the knight sooner or later. So knight e4, this is very good to control the center, but there's a downside, that is d5 pawn is losing. So instead of moving the knight, I think we can castle first. After castle, we can push the e pawn to support d5, and later knight e4. And white found this opportunity to win the pawn. That's a good move. Bishop to d3, e6, exchange. Well, I will move the knight back to maybe b4. Yeah, offer exchange. If knight takes mine, and take it back, and this pawn structure is very good. White has a very good space at the queen side. Knight c3, bishop takes, and queen f6. But what I'm a little bit worried about is e5. Black actually can attack the center before white castle, and knight d3, white king cannot castle. So once your opponent is slow in castling, you can open the center, which is a very useful technique to launch attack, bishop e5. Castle, and we can move the queen to h4, forking the pawns. At least we can win at least one pawn back. Queen f6, g5, take. Now white has up a pawn, that's advantage and the endgame. e5 is good, and instead of taking the pawn, I would recommend white pushing the pawn to d5, because after opening the d5, that favors black, because black has already a rook at the d5. g5, take, b3. No, there's a mistake. But black didn't notice that. Actually, black can win material. Oh yeah, now we find it. That's good. But the white didn't find the rook under attack. That's a little unfortunate. Now black is better. Attacking f2. Rook to e8. So we need to worry about bishop c3 and knight f6. So I think maybe we need to move the rook backward a bit, because after bishop attack and you move the rook, knight f6, there's a fork. No, there's a fork, and white won some material back. I think instead of move the rook to d5, it's better to activate the king. Move the king up. c5. I think the black king is very like bad in the position, that's not usually a good thing. And now the black king has moved to a better place. It's better than being an EA. That's good. But from white's perspective, I don't understand why don't we like take the pawn, right? Pushing the pawn just make the pawn close to the black king, which is easier to be taken. Okay, that's interesting. I think why not push the pawn? Oh, that's a skewer. That's unfortunate. So king f4 is better. Check. Okay, move it to maybe g5. Yeah. And unfortunately lost the queen. Yeah, that's a very beautiful like skewer. Very good move.